Hello everybody, so welcome back here to UTalk TV Plus. And well, we continue with our grammar lesson. Today we have list 19 second part. We started with the first part working on the past simple. Yeah, you remember, right? Everything is everything clear? ¿Está todo claro? So for example, did you understand everything? ¿Entendisteis todo? Or did you study? Or did you see the last video? Yeah, we saw the last video. Vimos el video pasado, or we watched. We saw is an irregular verb, so we'll see it later in another unit. We're going to be focused on the regular verbs, and we'll see the irregular verbs later. Probably you need 20 or 20 something. Okay, so the main goal here on this unit is that you understand how it works. And their pronunciation. So work, worked, study, studied, act, acted. I acted yesterday, I played yesterday, I worked. This one is quite difficult. I worked with a T at the end. I worked yesterday. I acted. Remember? So how would you ask me? ¿Cómo me preguntaríais? Si vi la tele ayer, for example, si vi la tele ayer. Did you? Important. Did. No pronunciéis did, okay? La E, remember? Como una E. Did. Did you watch TV yesterday? Did you watch TV yesterday? Did, and then the verb goes in infinitive. El verbo va en infinitivo, okay? Porque we already have did. Did you see it? Did you watch TV yesterday? Yeah, I watched. Look, I watched TV yesterday. No, I didn't. I didn't watch TV yesterday. How do you say, for example, yo estudié? I studied. I studied. Okay? Yo no estudié. I didn't study. ¿Estudiaste? Did you study? Okay, this was a little review about what we saw the other day. De lo que vimos el otro día. So now let's continue with what we have today. Let me get the book. Let me get the book here, and we continue with point number 3, and it's a review about the questions, about the tipo de preguntas, about the kind of questions we have, where, how long, which, who, all of that. Okay, so we know it's easy, but we want you to have everything clear. We want you to have everything clear, and we want you to understand everything. Okay, quiero que entiendas todo. Queremos que entendáis todo. So that's why we have this point here. So for example, how do you say? ¿Cómo se pregunta? ¿Cuánto tiempo? Well, let me check if I have the microphone on. ¿Cuánto tiempo? Is how, no se dice how much time. Okay, that's a classic mistake. People usually say how much time. No, how long. Be careful with its pronunciation, long, with the L. La, que no sea long. How long? No, how long. For example, ¿cuánto tiempo va a estar él aquí? No lo hemos visto todavía, but when I say it, how long is he going to be here? Okay, how long is the video going to last? ¿Cuánto tiempo dura el video? How long? Important, okay? How long? How long will you be waiting for me? ¿Cuánto tiempo estarás esperándome? How long will you be there? How long will you be working? ¿Cuánto tiempo estarás trabajando? Sorry, I have to drink water a little bit. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to drink at the beginning. How long is he going to be studying English, for example? Well, he's going to be studying English for years, for example. Okay? How long? Tiempo. Para tiempo. How long? Important. It's more. We'll see it later. Lo veremos más adelante. But when we talk about time, we don't usually use much. No usamos much para cuantificarlo. Se usa how long. ¿Cuánto? How much time? How much time do we have? ¿Cuánto tiempo tenemos? Se puede usar, but it's not natural. It's not. It would sound weird. Sonaría raro. So, how long time do we have? How long time do we have left? ¿Cuánto tiempo nos queda? How long time do we have left? How long do we have left without time? Sorry, el time se quita. How long do we have left? For example, how long? ¿Cuánto tiempo? Solo se usa el much cuando decir cuánto tiempo En este caso, sí, ¿cuánto tiempo nos queda? How much time do we have left? Cuando hablamos de cuantificando el tiempo así, sí. Eso es. Pero si no, ¿cuánto tiempo vas a estar aquí? How long are you going to be here? En ese caso, disculpad el error de antes, sí, en el ejemplo de antes sí que sería con how much time. Si no, siempre long, ¿ok? For example, voy a trabajar más tiempo que tú. I'm going to work longer than you. Para decir más tiempo que, fijaros, longer. Voy a estar aquí tanto tiempo como tú. I'm going to be here as long as you. Tanto tiempo como tú. As long as you. We'll see it. No worries. Lo veremos más adelante, ¿ok? Next one is how often. What does it mean? Do you remember? How often? We're reviewing. Estamos repasando. How often? What does it mean? ¿Qué significa how often? How often significa frecuencia. ¿Con qué frecuencia? How often, we can say the T, we can reproduce it or not. How often do you study English? For example, how often do you watch these videos? How often do you think I record? Yeah, how often do you think? Well, I record 3 or 4 videos a week. 3 or 4 videos a week. How often do you go to the gym, for example? How often do you practice sport? Then how would be the answer? The answer would be, well, I usually practice sports. I hardly ever, sometimes, seldom, barely, from time to time, alguna vez. Or you can say the number of times. For example, I go to the gym 3 times a week. I go to my English school twice. Twice significa 2 por semana, 2 veces. Twice a week, twice a year, twice a day. Once sería una. For example, how often do you take a plane? ¿Con qué frecuencia coges un avión? Well, in my case, I take a plane twice a year. 2 veces al año, for example. How often do you see your brother? In my case, I see my brother every day, todos los días, almost every day, casi siempre, because we work together, okay? We work together, so that's why we see each other, nos vemos ambos, each other, el uno al otro, almost every day. Fijaros que no es almost every day, okay? So, how often? La respuesta, remember we saw this, I think it was unit 12, something like that, okay? So, how many and how much? What does it mean? How many significa, what does it mean? Significa cuántos. And how much, cuánto. Much and many, de cantidad, para hablar de much, incontable, and many, contable. For example, how many cars do you have? How many water do you drink a day? Nope, mistake, water. Is it countable or uncountable? It's uncountable. So how much water do you drink a day? How much water? How many videos do you record a day? How much time do we have? ¿Cuánto tiempo tenemos? How many money? No, how much money? How much? How much? ¿Cuánto? How many? ¿Cuántos? I'm going to buy, voy a comprar as many as you. Tantos como tú. I'm going to buy as much as you. Voy a comprar tanto como tú. That's too much. Eso es demasiado. That's too much. Ellos son demasiados. There are too many. Demasiados. Too many and too much. So, para preguntar, how many friends do you have? For example, countable. Incontable, how much water do you drink? How much wine do we have left? ¿Cuánto vino nos queda? For example. If I ask about computers, ordenadores, ¿cuántos ordenadores tienes? How do you ask that? Much or many? How many computers do you have? Yeah. How many computers do you have? We ask about bread, pan. ¿Cuánto pan comes? How much? How much bread do you eat? How much bread? Bread, pan, uncountable. Okay? Aquí podemos decir un pan, 2 panes, 3 panes. Bueno, se suele decir una barra de pan, ¿no? I mean, at least here in Spain. I don't know. So, Or water, for example, or sand, arena. How much sand is there? ¿Cuánta arena hay? Okay. We can talk about water, for example, would be uncountable. How much water do you drink? But if we talk about liters of water, si hablamos de litros, then it would be countable. How many liters of water do you drink? Okay. How much and how many? How many years do you have? No, don't say this. How old are you? Okay, that's different. Okay, next one would be how far. How far? What does it mean? How far means far es lejos. So, ¿cuánto lejos? ¿Cuánto lejos? Fijaros, es para expresar distancias. Un clásico, for example, ¿qué distancia hay entre Madrid y Barcelona? How far is it? ¿Qué lejos está ello? From Madrid to Barcelona. How far is it from Madrid to Barcelona? It's 500 kilometers. No, more, 700 kilometers? I don't know. How far is it from your house to your job? Well, it's 10 minutes walking, for example. How far is it from a point to another? Or how far is a point from another? Like, for example, how far is Seville from Madrid? For example, okay? For example, how far? ¿Qué lejos? How far is it from New York to Los Angeles? How far is it from New York to Boston, for example? I have no idea. I don't know the distance there. I don't know the distances. No conozco las distancias. So I have no idea, okay? So, is it clear, no? How far? Let's continue. So, why? Porque este es sencillo. Why are you studying English? Because I want to learn. Because and why. ¿Cómo se dice quién? Who. Important. Entonces, who, okay? Who. Who are you? ¿Quién eres tú? Who is it? ¿Quién es? Who is playing the guitar? ¿Quién está tocando la guitarra? Who is your friend? ¿Quién es tu amigo? Who are you playing with? ¿Con quién estás jugando? Fijaros cómo se pregunta con quién. ¿Quién es? Who. ¿Con quién? Ponemos el con al final. ¿Quién estás jugando con? Who are you playing with? Who are you talking to? ¿Quién estás hablando con? Who are you arguing with? ¿Con quién estás discutiendo? Who. ¿De quién? Wow, la clásica. Whose. Okay, important. This one is very important because everybody makes mistakes with that. Okay. ¿De quién es el coche? Whose car is it? Whose is this car? No. Whose car is it? ¿De quién es aquel coche? Whose car is that? La traducción sería ¿de quién coche es aquello? Whose car is that? Whose dog is this? ¿De quién es este perro? Whose dog is this? ¿A quién le toca? Whose turn is it? ¿De quién es la culpa? Whose fault is it? ¿De quién fue la culpa? Whose fault was it? Whose fault was it? ¿De quién será la culpa? Whose fault will it be? ¿De quién va a ser la culpa? Whose fault is it going to be? ¿De quién iba a ser la culpa? Think about it. ¿De quién iba a ser la culpa? Whose fault was it going to be? ¿De quién es el turno? Whose turn is it? ¿De quién iba a ser el turno? Whose turn was it going to be? ¿De quién será el turno después de mí? Whose turn will it be after me? Wow, think about these sentences. You can analyze them, okay? Whose. ¿Cómo preguntamos de quién son esos perros? Whose dogs are those? Whose dogs are those? Okay? Whose computer is this? Whose hand is this? It's mine, it's mía, it's yours, it's hers, it's his, it's ours, it's yours, and it's theirs. Okay? So whose, de quién. Let's continue. Who is it for? ¿Para quién? ¿Para quién es este boli? Who is this pen for? Okay? ¿Qué es? What is it? What is that? ¿Qué es? O cómo, perdón, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo es? How is it? How is it? Okay? ¿Cómo es? Oye, ¿cómo es vivir en Madrid? What is it like to live in Madrid? What is it like to live in Madrid, for example? What is it like? Okay? ¿Cuándo es? When is it? And ¿dónde? Where? Importante que no digamos G, no digamos where y la R. Where is it? ¿Dónde está? Here we have some sentences. For example, ¿cómo se dice? ¿A cuánto está tu casa? How far is your house? ¿Cada cuánto vienes aquí? How often do you come here? How often do you come here? ¿Cuántos libros tienes? How many books do you have? With intonation, hey, how many books do you have? You can practice on your intonation. In the meantime, you work on grammar, okay? How many books do you have? Or ¿cuánta agua bebes? How much water do you drink? ¿Cuánto dura? How long does it last? How long does it last? Yeah, esto lo sabemos. ¿Cuándo es? When is it? ¿Por qué estás aquí? Why are you here? Okay, why? ¿Por qué? Why are you here? Porque trabajo aquí. Because I work here. Okay? ¿Quién es? Who is it? ¿De quién es? Who is it? ¿Para quién es? Who is it for? Okay? ¿Cómo es esa clase? What is that class like? Describe esa clase. Hey, what is that class like? Okay? And the last one, ¿dónde está? Where is it? This was a review, and now we're going to work on reading comprehension with was and were. Okay? I don't know if you have the book in front of you. If you have the book in front of you, close it because I want you to listen to me when I read, cuando leo. Okay? Quiero que cerréis el libro y me escuchéis. So let's see how your comprehension is. Veamos cómo es vuestra comprensión. Okay? I'm going to read the text and we'll work on it a little bit later. Important. Here you can work on your pronunciation, your intonation, your linking. Cada vez que leéis podéis trabajar vuestra entonación, vuestra pronunciación, vuestra unión de palabras, todo, y luego también aprender la gramática que vemos aquí en este texto y su vocabulario nuevo, etc. ¿Okay? I wanna work on this. Lo primero de todo, no lo escuchéis, o sea, no lo tengáis delante. Y una vez que hemos visto todo, al final sí que podéis leerlo e intentar repetirlo como lo hago yo, ¿ok? Or even better, o mejor. For example, empezamos. 5 years ago, Sally and her husband were living in San Francisco, California. Tristan was born when Sally was 19 years old. She was teaching 3rd grade at West Springs Elementary School for 6 years. After Tristan was born, Sally was a stay-at-home mom. Sally's husband, George, was working at a real estate company for 10 years when he had to leave because of the housing market crisis. Then George was working at a bank and serving tables at a restaurant in order to support their family. Even though Sally and George were struggling financially, they were a very happy family during this time. Sally was giving piano lessons out of their house in order to earn extra money for groceries. They were planning to have a second child because Sally was worried about not being able to get pregnant again. Tristan was 4 years old when his young sister, Kara, was born. Sally was 34 years old when she was born. Sally and George were very happy to have 2 beautiful and healthy children. Tristan was going to start kindergarten in the fall. Do you understand? ¿Lo habéis entendido? Lo importante es que luego trabajáis la lectura si queréis, but now important that you understood kind of, que lo entendisteis más o menos. If you don't understand anything, si no habéis entendido nada, go backward, ir hacia atrás, and see it again, lo podéis ver otra vez y escucharlo. Okay, lo escucháis otra vez y veis a ver what do you understand. Vemos qué entendéis. Lo escucháis 2 o 3 veces, then we continue with the questions. For example, where were Sally and her husband living 5 years ago? ¿Dónde estaban viviendo Sally and her husband hace 5 años? They were living in San Francisco, right? Yeah. San Francisco, California. A great place. I've been there. I was there 4 years ago. 4 years ago I was there with my friends, and it's an amazing city. It's wonderful. I love it. It's a little bit cold. Hace un poquito de frío, but I loved it. I liked it a lot. Me encantó. Okay? San Francisco with its bay, con su bahía. Sorry, I have to drink again. Otherwise I'm gonna get hoarse. Thank you. So San Francisco. So how was she when Tristan was born? How was she when Tristan was born? Well, here it says she was 29 years old. It's more than probably that you didn't get all the details. Que no has cogido todos los detalles, but the important thing is that you understand the text. If there's something you don't understand, no worries, no os preocupéis. You can review the text and you'll get it, okay? No worries. Sometimes even when I read, cuando lo leo, I don't get all the details. No me quedo con todos los detalles. But it's a good way to learn and to practice, okay? If it's difficult for you, you can open your book if it's in front of you. Si tenéis el libro lo podéis abrir. If not, no worries. Si no tenéis el libro no os preocupéis porque también se puede seguir, okay? Next question. How long was she teaching third grade? ¿Cuánto tiempo estuvo enseñando third grade? Fijaros que en English, no sé, los cursos se llaman grados, grade. Well, she was teaching third grade for 6 years. 6 years. Durante 6 años, ¿ok? As it says here, como lo dice aquí. What was she after Tristan was born? ¿Qué fue después de que Tristan nació? She was a housemaid, if I'm right. A stay-at-home mom. Se dedicó a quedarse en casa y a cuidar de la casa y de los niños. A stay-at-home mom. I don't know that word. No sabía ese adjetivo. A stay-at-home mom. Well, she's a stay-at-home mom. A stay-at-home mom. Good one. I'll keep it. Me lo quedo. Good. 5. How long was her husband working in a company? He was working, if I'm right, for 10 years. 10 años. Okay, 10 years. Yes. Why do you have to leave? ¿Por qué tuvo que dejarlo? If I'm right, because the market crisis, right? Yeah, the housing market crisis. La crisis del mercado financiero, de las viviendas. The housing crisis market crisis. Fíjate cómo se dice crisis, crisis, okay? Where was he working after that? Then he was working in a bank and in a restaurant, right? Yes. So, well, you have a lot of questions here. So you can be, if you don't, as I told you, if you have the book, great. If you have the book, no worries, okay? No os preocupéis porque también se puede trabajar lo que habéis entendido del texto. It's not essential, no es esencial, okay? But it's important, but it's not essential, okay? Now, what I would do, ¿qué haría yo? If you have the book, si tienes el libro, what I would do, if you don't have the book, you can get it. Grammar 2, you talk grammar number 2, part 2, okay? You can open the book and start reading and working on the reading comprehension and your reading skills, vuestras habilidades lectoras, okay? You can read the book. If there's something you don't understand, si algo no entendéis, you can look it up. Lo podéis buscar. If you understand everything, then you can listen to how I read it, escuchar cómo yo lo leí, and then you can pause it. Fíjate cómo se dice parar, pause. You can pause it, and then you can practice and try to imitate it. Lo podéis tratar de imitar, okay? For example, if it starts, 5 years ago, Sally and her husband were living in San Francisco, California. That would be how an average student would read it. Sería como un alumno medio lo leería. 5 years ago, Sally and her husband were living in San Francisco, California. Okay, we're going to exaggerate it. Vamos a exagerarlo, okay? 5 years ago. Fijaos, 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Y le damos una entonación. 5 years ago. Cambia de decir 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Sally and her husband. Fijaos, Sally. En vez de Sally, Sally. La L. Importante. Sally and her husband. Were, que no sea were, no, were living, que no sea living, no, living in San Francisco, California. Wow, I love this word, California. So 5 years ago, Sally and her husband were living in San Francisco, California. Now we can give it a little bit on more intonation. 5 years ago, Sally and her husband were living in San Francisco, California. Tristan was born when Sally was 29 years old. Tristan was born when Sally was 29 years old. Tristan was born when Sally was 29 years old. Tristan was born when Sally was 29 years old. She was teaching third grade at West Springs Elementary School for 6 years. No, she was. Primero trabajamos las palabras con su propia pronunciación, luego las unimos y luego la entonación. She was, que no sea was, fijaros, una palabra tan simple, pero ¿cómo cambia de decir was a was? She was teaching third grade at West Springs Elementary School for 6 years. She was teaching third grade at West Springs Elementary School for 6 years. After Tristan was born, after Tristan was born, Sally was a stay-at-home mom. Entonación. After Tristan was born, Sally was a stay-at-home mom. Punto. Period. Sally's husband, well, Sally's husband, George was working as a real estate company at a real estate company for 10 years when he had to leave because of the housing market crisis. Voy a lo primero pronunciando las palabras correctamente todas, ¿ok? Sally's husband, George, was working at the real estate company for 10 years when he had to leave because of the housing market crisis. Más rápido. Sally's husband, George, was working at a real estate company for 10 years when he had to leave because of the housing market crisis. Now we're going to give it intonation. Vamos a darle entonación. Sally's husband, George, was working at a real estate company for 10 years when he had to leave because of the housing market crisis. Then, George was working at a bank and serving tables at a restaurant in order to support the family. Fijaros esta palabra, familia, ¿cómo cambia de decir family a family? So, then, la TH then, George, que no sea George, la R, George, was working at a bank, cuidado, ¿cómo cambia de decir bank? A bank, and serving tables, mesas, at a restaurant, esta palabra me encanta, restaurant, porque cuando yo estudiaba mucha gente que decía restaurant, this is a restaurant. I remember that when I studied English, when I used to study English, cuando estudiaba inglés, había un compañero que decía restaurant, there is a good restaurant here, and I remember that a teacher didn't correct it. El profesor no lo corregía. The teacher listened to restaurant and they didn't correct it. No lo corregían. So restaurant, ¿ok? ¿Dónde está esto? George was working at a bank and serving tables at a restaurant in order to support their family, para mantener, to support the family. Even though, a pesar de, Sally and George were struggling financially. Struggling, ¿qué significa to struggle? Struggle means tener problemas con algo, pasar apuros haciendo algo. Well, I struggle a lot when I have to deal with my boss. Cuando tengo que hablar con mi jefe, I struggle a lot, for example, or I struggle a lot when I have to learn new words in English, for example. Struggle financially, financieramente, financially. They were a very happy family during this time. Even though Sally and George were struggling financially, they were a very happy family during this time. Sally was given piano lessons out of their house in order to earn extra money for groceries. To give out es dar, ¿cómo se dice en castellano? Impartir. Okay? Sally was given piano lessons out of their house in order to earn, ganar, extra money, cuidado con es money for groceries. Groceries son los productos del día a día, ¿ok? Para la compra. They were planning to have a second child. They were planning, fíjate cómo lo dirían a un alumno medio que decíamos, they were planning to have a second child because Sally was worried about not being able to get pregnant again. They were planning to have a second child because Sally was worried about not being able to get pregnant again. Do you understand? So they were planning to have a second child. Estaban planeando tener un segundo hijo. Because Sally was worried about, Sally estaba preocupada about not being able to get pregnant again. De no poderse quedar embarazada de nuevo. Tristan was 4 years old when his younger sister Kara was born. Okay? Sally was 34 years old when she was born. Sally and George were very happy to have two beautiful and healthy children. We're going to analyze this sentence. Vamos a analizar esta frase. Sally and George. Cuidado, cambia mucho decir Sally and George. Sally and George were very happy to have two beautiful and healthy children. No estaría mal leído. And everyone would understand us. Todo el mundo nos entendería. Pero we can improve it. We can make it better. Okay? Sally and George were very happy. We're very happy to have two beautiful and healthy children. Eso es. Tristan was going to start kindergarten in fall. Tristan was going to start, iba a comenzar kindergarten in the fall. Iba a comenzar kindergarten, el jardín, la educación infantil, in fall, en otoño. What about grammar? We haven't explained the grammar here. It's about was, were, the past of the verb to be. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, okay? For example, this last sentence, Tristan was going to start. Tristan was going to start. Tristan iba a comenzar. Fijaros, cuando digo, por ejemplo, voy a estudiar. I'm going to study. ¿Cómo se dice, sin embargo? Iba a estudiar. Yo iba a estudiar cuando me llamaste. I was going to study. I was going to study. Iba a estudiar. I was going to study when you called me. Pero me interrumpiste. When you called me. Called. Important. I was going to study. For example, George was working at a company. George was working. Estaba trabajando. George está trabajando. George is working. George estaba trabajando. George was working. La primera frase, por ejemplo, 5 years ago, Sally and her husband estaban viviendo en San Francisco. ¿Cómo se dice eso? They were living in San Francisco. You want to review this? Remember, you were, we were, they were. First person and third person goes with was. Yo estaba aquí, I was here. Tú estabas aquí, you were here. You were here, ¿ok? ¿Qué más? For example, ¿cómo se dice? Sally tenía 29 años. Sally was 29 years old. Sally tiene 29 años. Sally is 29 years old. Sally tenía 29 años. Sally was 29 years old. ¿Cómo se dice, por ejemplo, Sally tendrá 29 años? Sally will be, o sea, será 29 years old. This is a good exercise. For example, si digo, él está trabajando. He is working. Si decimos, él estaba trabajando. He was working. Él iba a trabajar. He was going to work. Él iba a estar trabajando. He was going to be working. Él trabajará. He will work. Él estará trabajando. He will be working. Él estaba trabajando. He was working. I already said that one. Ya he dicho esa. Another case, for example, María está jugando a fútbol. Maria is playing football. Past. ¿Cómo se dice en pasado? Maria was playing football. María estaba jugando a fútbol. María was, María iba a jugar a fútbol. María was going to play football. María va a jugar a fútbol. María is going to play football. María va a estar jugando a fútbol. María is going to be playing football. María jugará fútbol. María will play football. How do you say, ¿cómo se dice? María estará jugando a fútbol. Wow. So María will be, María will be playing football. Sí sería, ¿ok? So, yo iba a ir. I was going to go. Yo estaba yendo. I was going. Yo voy a ir. I'm going to go. Voy a estar yendo. I'm going to be working. Iré. I will go. Estaré yendo. I will be going. Okay? That's a little bit hard, right? But well, think about it. You can analyze it. If it was too fast for you, you can listen to it again. Lo puedes escuchar otra vez and you can analyze it. Okay? You can write it down. And if you have any doubts, of course, you can leave a comment here and we can explain it to you, okay? Lo podemos explicar. Okay, so well, we're finishing this this video, the second part. We still have the third part left. Todavía tenemos la tercera parte about would, about phrasal verbs, and about pronunciation. We will also do a little review about everything we've already seen, okay? So I'm sorry about this video. It wasn't so fast because well we had to do things. We had to do the reading part, okay? But well, as always, if you have any comments, whatever, any questions, whatever, leave us a comment here. And I hope you're enjoying this course. I hope you like these videos. You find them interesting. And well, I'll see you next video with the third part of our grammar number 19. Okay? So well, thank you very much, and I'll see you next video here on YouTube TV Plus. Bye.